Hi, this video talks about fascism and protest violence. It may touch on issues like racism, sexism, homophobia, and Tucker Carlson making noises with his face. If that's not your thing, please find a different video to watch. Move out! Last time on the Misanthrophile. And now, Part 4. Indecent Exposure. Part 9. Expose the enemy. Infiltration isn't the only way to get footage that shows a wider audience what these groups are really about. Counter-protesters should, whenever possible, get their far-right opponents to lose their shit and/or expose their true ideas on film. Remove that crypto from crypto-fascism. Let everyone see who they really are. The Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville remains the best example of this kind of revelation. As discussed in Part 1, the events of Charlottesville changed the national conversation about the far-right forever, and drove the alt-right proper back underground. They still haven't recovered. This victory came about not because of violent suppression of the far-right, but because the far-right rallygoers were caught on film being actual goddamn Nazis. One of the major lessons the far-right learned from this debacle was to, not do that. Instead, many far-right activists have fully embraced what I'm going to call the free speech switcheroo. Here's how you play.
Immigrants are low IQ rapists and criminals. Close the borders, we need a homogenous society.
What the fuck, dude? Get out of here with your racist nationalist bullshit.
I am being silenced! I have every right to speak my mind. Whatever happened to the First Amendment?
Every American has an absolute right to express his views, regardless of what Twitter thinks. On our set, you are always free to say what you believe, even if we disagree with you.
Ooh, free speech. I like free speech. I'll be there.
Oh, it's a terrible idea. These guys are racist nationalist assholes.
Hey man, they're allowed to have opinions. Why are you silencing them?
Because this kind of speech has no place in a civilized society.
See what I mean? So much for the tolerant left.
Indeed. I'm going to go write a think piece about free speech.
Oh my god, stop sympathizing with fascists.
You see that? Now they're calling you a Nazi. They just call everyone they disagree with a Nazi. None of us are Nazis. Come hang out with us at the free speech rally and I'll introduce you to my friends.
Okay.
Hey, notice what completely fell out of that conversation? Immigration. Our centrist friend never even got to hear the original rhetoric, never mind the reasons why it's such a dangerous sentiment. That's because Alt Ballard covered up his actual argument with the free speech switcheroo. The far-right would always rather talk about free speech than the actual arguments because way more people support the concept of free speech than support their actual arguments. It's a great way to smuggle that real argument into mainstream discourse. They're not the only people who do this either. TERFs love this tactic. Here's the thing. If someone is talking, in public, about being silenced, then by definition they're not being silenced at that moment. Theoretically, they could talk about their actual issue instead of about silencing. Whenever the far right talks about silencing and free speech, refuse to play along. Do not debate their right to free speech. It is a losing argument. It does not play well with anyone who does not already believe what Antifa believes about fascism. Instead, find a way to shift focus to their actual policy positions.
Support free speech. Support free speech.
Trump's administration is full of white nationalists. Or Trump wants to ban Muslim immigration. Or Trump's border camps killed 6 children in 9 months. Or Trump abandoned our Kurdish allies and allowed Turkey to release ISIS terrorists.
Or something similar. Notice how all of these short declarative sentences involve hot-button issues like race or foreign policy. That's because, as always, your audience is the general public. Don't waste your breath on corruption charges, obscure policy issues, or anything having to do with Democrats. Go for emotionally charged, hot-button issues. You want them to talk about race, immigration, foreign policy, sexism, and so on. You want footage of them talking about their most dangerous ideas. These short declarative sentences should not include insults or anything the wider public perceives as insults. Do not call them assholes or even Nazis. The more polite your statement, the more unhinged the reaction you're about to provoke will seem. Once you yell your short, declarative statement, you will likely be mobbed by a bunch of angry far-right protesters. This is especially true if you're standing a short distance away from your fellow counter-protesters. This is what you want. They're going to get up in your face and yell a lot of shit. They want to get you upset, those sweet, sweet liberal tears, or to start a fight. Your job is to give them neither thing. You must stay completely calm. If you feel your control slipping, turn around and walk away. Your lack of emotional response will enrage them. Do not, under any circumstances, debate these people. Innuendo Studios has a great video about why this is a losing strategy. Go watch it if you haven't already. Moreover, in this specific situation where you're surrounded by angry people yelling at you, actual debate is in fact impossible. Point that shit out.
Are you gonna let an immigrant live with you? Why don't you open It's hard to have a conversation when you're yelling like this.
Go live in Venezuela, you like communist.
You're talking over each other. I can't understand what you're saying. I thought you were in favor of dialogue, but all you're doing is yelling, so I guess there's no point in talking to you.
Even if the far right doesn't take the actual bait and address your short declarative sentence, you'll be able to post a video of the far right screaming at you while you remain calm.
So much for the tolerant right. They don't want to have a conversation, they just want to yell at people who disagree with them.
Ideally, though, they'll address your actual claim. In my experience, as they fail to get a rise out of you, they'll start yelling more extreme shit in an effort to provoke a reaction. The calmer you stay, the worse they'll get. Film them doing this. Then, once the protest is over, edit and post a video of that. Share it with everyone. Send the video to every news outlet you can think of. Skywrite that shit. Use every tool at hand, including neoliberal institutions, to broadcast the truth about the far right. Again, this truth is not obvious to everyone. The more you bombard the public with proof, the more difficult it becomes for people to deny the far right threat. Not everyone can calmly respond with words when a bunch of people are screaming in their face. If that's you, there is an alternative. Put the short, declarative sentence on a sign and wait for them to see it. Then silently hold that sign while they scream at you. I've seen this work extremely well at past events. And I'd love to show you a clip of how well it worked, but you guessed it, no one was filming. Cameras are your friend. Embrace the camera. Become one with the camera. I like to watch. This is not an inherently safe activity. If you make them mad enough, there is a non-zero chance you will get jumped. This is where the black bloc comes in. They should be standing maybe 10 feet away, filming of course, both as a deterrent and in case shit hits the fan. Once the far right throws that first punch, it's bashing time. Losing to a bunch of beta cuck soy jockeys is the delicious frosting on this propaganda cake. That's a video everyone is going to want to watch. And, as long as you include footage of the provocation and the first punch thrown, it's gonna help the cause. Not everyone can or should do this. If you don't think you can remain calm, if you tend to cry under stress, if you flat out don't want to risk getting punched in the face, all of these things are absolutely fine and completely understandable. There are a lot of other things you can do to help the cause. We'll talk about everyday anti-fascism in the next video.